I loved video games ever since I was in elementary school. Well, you could say I was what they call a nerd. I loved them so much that by the time I was in high school, I started making my own video. Okay, spending all day locked up in my room working on a video game meant I didn't have many close friends, so I was always alone. I don't know if it was because of this or if it's just my personality, but by the time I started learning programming in college, the girls had kindly nicknamed me Ease the Skilled but kinda creepy nerds.
As long as you are doing what you love, no matter what others say. Don't worry, you are a winner as long as you are doing what you love, no matter what others say.
My mom, always laughing and saying these words, was so social and cheerful that I sometimes wondered if she really was my real mother. When I was in high school, my dad passed away from cancer, so it's just been two of us. But thanks to my cheerful mom, I never felt lonely. Actually, I graduated and became a working adult. I landed a job at a major game company, which had been my dream, and I was excited to work there every day. Most of the time, I didn't talk to anyone, just staring at the computer screen all day. This job was perfect for me. And thanks to my salary, I could finally give my mom, who worked as a nanny, a bit much of a break. But all that ended after 3 years. I was chosen to join a team for a big company-wide project. However, a colleague named John stole my ideas. When I protested to the company, they immediately ushered me to resign. The company chose John, who was popular and got along well with the bosses, over a low-key employee like me. I have never resented my poor social skills more than that period of time. A year has passed since then. I've been job hunting, but I'm still unemployed.
Get off your butt. A young man like you shouldn't be lazing around. It's driving me nuts watching you. Get up and do some work, anything.
So what do you mean by anything, Shots?
Picture in a rush, I snatched back the blanket and wrapped it around myself. The company I'm working for is hiring janitors for the building. The boss was saying they're short on men, so I recommended you for the job. You have an interview this evening?
The company I'm working for is hiring janitors for the building. The boss was saying they're short on men, so I recommended you for the job. You have an interview this evening. Don't be picky. You can't babysit, can you? Now get up.
The blanket was yanked off me again, and I tumbled out of the bed.
It's not a customer service, so you won't have to deal with people much, and cleaning can be therapeutic. When you're polishing a floor, it's like you're cleansing your soul. It's the perfect job for you right now. Understand? Don't make your mom look bad.
Just with a stern voice, Mom exited the room, humming a tune. Since then, I've been working part-time as a janitor. At first, I was reluctant, but it turned out to be a good job for me. Utter math. We mostly work in pairs, but usually we're each on a different floor doing our own thing. There are many senior staff members, and it was nice that the women's staffs were rather quiet. And just like Mom said, the act of mindlessly polishing brought a sense of accomplishment. Looking at the shiny windows and floors felt refreshing. Thanks to the physical work, my daily meals tasted better. Meals tasted better? I thought I might continue this janitor job when suddenly a trouble happened.
Hey, aren't you Anderson?
While I was cleaning in a new building, a voice called out to me. I turned around to see my old coworker, John.
Definitely. Anderson, why are you dressed like that? A janitor? Seriously, that's hilarious.
He slapped my shoulder again and again, and I snapped. That hurts, you know.
Sorry, man, but it's good to see you. I work in this company now. After you left, I got headhunted. Remember that software I made? It hit big. This company's been growing super fast. It's hard being in the spotlight as the hit maker. You know...
Excuse me, I'm working.
Thinking John, who was still bragging, I walked away. I had a sinking feeling in my chest and felt miserable. Every day after that, John would mess with me. He'd deliberately bump into me, knocking over buckets or spilling the coffee I was carrying onto the freshly polished hallway. It's the kind of bullying you'd expect from grade schoolers, yet he'd do it every day without getting bored. I just endured it all. I didn't want to pick a fight because it might bring trouble to my... No, I didn't want to pick a fight because it might bring trouble to my mom.
Seems like you've got a lot on your plate, huh?
Except one evening, while I was absent-mindedly watching TV with a beer, my mom spoke to me.
What do you mean a lot?
Don't play dumb. I've heard about it from the chief, you know. John is that guy who stole your plan in your previous company, right?
I couldn't help but smirk at her way of putting it.
I heard the harassment's been pretty bad. Everyone's worried about you.
How'd you even know all this? You work in the babysitting department, right?
Don't underestimate my network. Unlike you, I have lots of friends.
She finished her beer and gave me a stern look.
So aren't you upset to be treated like that by such a guy?
Well, I am upset, but
Esta Praskins and get back at him with your work.
she stood up and handed me a piece of paper from her work bag. Next went the ears. When I looked, it was a flyer that read in bold letters, "Freelancers welcome, seeking innovative game software."
A lady I'm babysitting for. Her mom's the CEO of that company.
The company name mentioned at the bottom was the same as where I currently work and where John is.
Yes, when I mentioned you, she gave me this. How about it? A chance to get back at him.
I stared at the flyer, completely absorbed.
Used to being a janitor is a proper job. But it's not what you really want to do, right? It's about time you got back into the swing of things. If you don't do it now, you're not much of a man. Just so you know, the CEO is pretty strict. Don't expect any special treatment just because you're my son. Earn your stripes on your own.
Feeling ashamed that, at 27, my mom was still introducing me to job opportunities and worrying about me, I decided to prove myself in front of John. That motivation was really strong. Over the next 3 months, I juggled my janitorial duties during the day and immersed myself in software development at night. As time went on, I realized how much I loved this work, and no matter how late I stayed up, I was always excited. Thanks to that, I didn't care less about John's petty pranks. All I could think about was the software.
Yes.
I finally uploaded my completed software online and let out a deep sigh. The feeling of accomplishment washed over me, and I slept like a log that night. I didn't even notice when Mom put a blanket over me in the middle of the night. A week later, I went to work as usual, but I felt dizzy. I guess pushing myself finally caught up to me, and I could taste the fever in my mouth.
Oh, you okay? Your face is red.
The MS Compson. My colleague looked at me with concern. Had
Benching this up.
Of course, I will talk to the chief.
I filled a bucket with water and lifted it. Suddenly, I felt wobbly and spilled some of the water.
Hey, what the hell?
Actually, I realized I made a mistake, but it was too late. To make matters worse, the person I spilled water on was John.
I'm so sorry. I'll clean it up right away. I'm so sorry, I'll clean it up right away.
As I tried to wipe his pants with a clean towel I had, he said, "Don't touch me. You're disgusting," pushing my hand away.
I've been thinking, why looks like you always around me? Get lost? Are you deaf as well as dumb?
Even though he was yelling at me, it was my fault, so I kept apologizing.
I'll tell the clean company for you, so get lost.
Just then,
What's going on here?
a calm female voice spoke, and John and I both looked her way. A stern-looking woman in her late 30s wearing a beige suit frowned at me
Oh, boss!
and hurriedly put the bucket back. The boss? Is she the CEO my mom mentioned?
Well, this janitor splashed water on me.
The CEO just glanced at him and asked me, "What's your name?"
David Anderson,
You see the boss's face lit up when I answered. "Oh, you're Anderson. This saves me the trouble of reaching out." She
The boss pulled out a handkerchief from her bag and began wiping me down. Hey, that's right, it's right. Quickly stepped back, but the boss shook her head. No, about to introduce you to everyone. We can't have our leader looking like this. It'll give everyone a shock.
is confused. I looked at her, and she said, "Follow me, and you too, John." Without another word, John and I followed behind the boss.
As the boss opened the door, the sign of product development said, "Everyone a moment, please." The boss pulled me by the arm to stand next to her. The eyes of about 30 staff members were all on me. We are starting a big project company-wide, and held a competition for software development. We had many excellent entries from within the company. But after a strict selection process, Dave Anderson's work was chosen. The room erupted in cheers.
I just stood there, dumbfounded.
I'm used to work for a major game company. He's the real brains behind the hit, Behind the Sinnings adventure series. We're honored to have such a valuable talent in our company. Emphasizing the word real. The boss took a quick glance at John.
John's face turned as pale as a ghost.
David will lead the team. We'll inform those who've been selected to be on his team. It's our biggest project this season. Let's make it a success.
Everyone clapped and smiled at me. The sudden turn of events had me completely dumbfounded.
And then, the boss extended his right hand to me, whispering, I'm truly indebted to your mom for all she's done for us, but remember, this is all about your own abilities. I finally realized this was, all real. In that moment, I felt the tears welling up.
I appreciated it. Thank you. I firmly shook the boss's hand.
"Thank you," said the boss, giving me a big smile and nodding. But the sound of warm applause was music to my ears. After that, I was hired full-time.
When I greeted the cleaning company's chief, he cheerfully said, "Congratulations." The chief said, "Mrs. Anderson was really worried about you. Make your mom proud."
Was always with a smile, seemingly without a care in the world. My mom was always there, worrying about me. The job was tough but fulfilling. Thanks to the boss's leadership, everyone had the freedom to work in a productive environment. We might be a small company now, but I'm sure we'll grow big. I genuinely wanted to give everything for the company. John was in my team, but he didn't show resistance. In fact, he was working really hard. The boss must have had a serious talk with him. Seeing John, who always acted so smug, working harder than anyone else made me appreciate him a bit. By teaching some more. All of this was thanks to my mom. I thanked her over and over again, asking what I could give her as a gift. After some thought, she responded, a daughter-in-law and grandchildren. That's a tall order,